So as scientists, we ask lots of questions. It's all about how big is the universe? How does that galaxy develop over time? What do we understand in this? And sometimes it can be scary to ask questions like, when was the beginning of the universe? How long ago was that? How did it get started? God is actually governing the real world with mathematics, with this mathematical regularity that we can describe and understand. And I fell in love with physics. A few years later, when I was picking what area of physics, I thought it'd be most fascinating to study astrophysics, to study the physics of what is going on out in the universe. So I grew up in a Christian home, a wonderful church, wonderful Christian family. I grew up learning to love Jesus and the stories of Scripture and to love Jesus back. Well, I was also encouraged to do science. My parents said, sure, study science in school, study science and math, and my church encouraged that too. But we also all believed that the earth was young because we really only knew two ways to understand Genesis. Either you read Genesis literally 6 24-hour days, God is the creator, or there was no God, and it was atheism and the Big Bang, and these were just the only options. Well, if that's the only options, I'm going to choose the option with God in it. That gave me a lot of hesitancy then to actually study astronomy, because I love the Bible, and I love all parts of it, and I didn't want to just say, well, I'll pick and choose, or science says this passage is true, but this one isn't. I didn't want to use science to decide which passage was true. I didn't want to just pick the things I liked. Well, I was fortunate to come across a book that had writings by a Christian astronomer and a Christian geologist. That was an easy way for me to begin to engage. I felt I could trust them. And so I could explore these questions with them. And here were role models who had studied these fields, who were engaging them faithfully and could say how their faith was still resonating with it. And that was my entry point into understanding those pieces of scientific evidence that pointed to an Earth that's 4 billion years old, a universe that we now know 14 billion years old. And that really helped me to have those trusted voices that I could turn to. So in science, curiosity is really important, but that's just a piece of it. We have to also actually do experiments and engage the data. And we do experiments because we know that we are fallible. We might make mistakes. And if you accept Christianity, we also know that we're sinful and we might just get things wrong. So we investigate, we do experiments, we do observations in order to find data and then to check our ideas against what is in the natural world. Now, as a Christian, I view the natural world as God's creation. And so I'm actually checking my ideas and thoughts against what God has already made. And so that gives me then the certainty if I'm on the right track or not, if my ideas are aligning with what the data is saying. And I have had experiences in my research where I was really excited about one idea. I think this is a trend. I was looking at one set of galaxy clusters. I think they're doing this. And then we looked at another set of galaxy clusters and they weren't. And I'm like, okay, so I must not have my idea right. And that's the constant practice of science. And there's a humility in that. And every scientist has to have that kind of humility of being willing to subject your favorite ideas to correction by what the data is saying. I see that the Christian worldview is so beautiful, and the story helps me make sense of so many things that this is what I have given my allegiance to. But once I have that grounding, then there's so many other questions I can be asking, but asking without fear. I can ask, when did the universe start? But because I already know the creator, and if it turns out to be a different answer than I thought, well, we can still be curious and learn about that. It gives a freedom to ask questions and a freedom to be in dialogue with others about questions. So balancing what I'm certain of and where I'm willing to explore and how I handle doubt is all part of this. But I think the Christian perspective gives a way of handling it that gives me a grounding to be free to ask how anything on Earth or in the heavens, how it works, how it functions.